Hi, today, okay, we're speaking about death a lot, hey? Today we are speaking about how to deal with death. This last week we spoke about Ministry of Presence, as in how to be there for someone who's lost a loved one. Today we are speaking about the person who's literally lost someone. How to kind of navigate through it. This is more from my experience and what I saw and things that I did not do, failed to do, that prolonged my period of grief. So, yeah, let's do that. And I think one point that I forgot about last week's video was the social media thing. Being there for someone who's lost a loved one is not you posting about their loss on social media. I think we are living in a millennial thingy where social media is just so fast, guys. You're not going to die if you don't post about it. So wait for like a day. That's what I'd yeah. Wait for like a day. Wait for the person to make sure that the person now knows. The worst thing is having to receive a call from someone who's not particularly really close to you or anything like that, and they have to break the news to you that your parent has passed on, or they had no idea and they're like, I'm so sorry for your loss, over the phone, and like, the loss of what? And they have no idea how to react. So we want to contact the person who's lost a loved one, but let's just wait a few hours, ensure that the person knows already, then contact them. To be safe, just wait a day, then contact them. Okay. Let a loved one tell them about their loved one that has passed on. Don't let them find out through social media. Don't post it on social media. Wait for 24 hours. I think the family would have notified everyone who needs to know by then. Yeah, let's respect each other, even if we are living in the new technology age, but let's just do each other that favor. Okay. So if someone were to ever ask me the question, how losing a very close loved one, how it feels like, it felt like I was sucker punched. Like, like those cartoons where they punch you and you fly through the air. Yeah, it felt like that. I was like losing control, just like that. I was trying to make sense of things. I was trying to balance. I was trying, asking so many questions, but I just couldn't grasp anything. So the feeling was like being sucker punched, and I'm just going through the air. Nothing makes sense. Nothing, nothing matters. So yeah, that's the feeling. So the reason I'm doing these videos is not speaking death over you, like death is, but there's a time for everything, and there's a time for death. So whenever that time comes, none of us are gonna live forever. We are going to have to face death some way or another. So being able to deal with the situation, hopefully that one day you can actually come back. For some who's never lost anyone, this might not make sense to you, but whenever you have to deal with it, you can come back and watch the video, and then it makes sense to you. Or you can just understand what the person who's lost a loved one is going through. So yeah. First of all, we have what we call stages of grief. The stages of grief don't necessarily go in a particular order, but we all kind of go through them. So the first one would be denial. Like, it can't be true. I remember through my denial phase, when Dad passed away, it was like, I dreamt a lot about him. Like, he would be, I'm alive. In my dreams, I was still going through denial. So we all go through that. It's expected. Like, I can't believe it. I can't, but it's also a time where our brain protects itself. So I think especially during the funeral, where I mentioned a last video that your mind is just not there. your mind is not functioning. You might be looking at people, responding to them, but your mind is just not working. So the mind protects us by not having us go through all of it right at the start of it. So denial is actually prolonging it, but it's actually protecting us right at the same time. So yes, we go through that. Then we go what through anger. Anger and frustration. It's often directed at the wrong targets, but when we've lost someone, we angry about something somewhere somehow. We go through that phase of anger. Um, just don't have people receive, yeah, well, be on the at the wrong place at the wrong time where they are facing your anger, because when you've lost someone, you need a lot of support, you need a lot of comfort. So if someone was to come into contact, was trying to comfort you, and they receive the anger portion of it all, they're not going to come back. So as much as you need comfort, please be aware of this. As much as you go through the anger phase, be aware that you don't target it at the wrong person. And then bargaining. Bargaining, this is where we strike a deal. We strike a deal. This is where the regrets come back. Striking a deal is like, I'll never do this again. I'll never, and regretting is going back. I never told them I loved them. I didn't do this. I could have done this. I should have done this. It's, we go through it, hey? Yeah. As soon as we've worked it out, we will be okay. But yeah, it's the regret phase. You feeling guilty, but you will get over it. You will go through it. You'll be fine. Then there's depression. Depression is, in this sense, when we've lost a loved one, depression is not categorized as a mental illness. It's just natural. This is deep sadness where we just, life is just hard. We just constantly sad. So we go through that phase. Let yourself go through it. Stop trying to tell yourself to snap out of it. Go through it. Where you just sad. This is where the reality of the loss happens. So this is most of the time after the funeral, as we're trying to deal with it, where life is going on and this person is not coming back. So yeah, this is the stage of depression. And actually not going through it, kind of trying to shelf it or put it away, and not going through the depression prolongs the grief. So my basic thing through these stages of grief is go through them. Don't shelf them. Don't prolong them by ignoring them. Just go through it. And then finally, the last stage is acceptance, where I accept the loss. My life has changed. I'm picking up the pieces. I am going on with my life. There's nothing I can change about it. Life goes on. So it doesn't happen in the order as I'm saying it, but it happens. So understand, this is what we go through. And then you can't shelf a loss. The reason why I said last week that when someone has lost someone, don't say to them, be strong. You can't shelf it, because being strong, I remember losing dad and people saying that be strong for your mother, and actually trying to be strong for my mother, but prolonging my own grieving process. I remember it was a good 7 years after dad had passed away where I just broke down. It felt like someone had just called me up and said, your dad has passed away. I can't even remember what happened, but the situation said that if dad were alive, this would not be happening. So I just completely broke down. And if I had not tried to pull the be strong thing, I don't think I would have gone through that. I was so far away from home. It just was dreadful for me for a good 2 days. I didn't want to see people. It was just a dreadful 2 days. So yeah, don't shelf it, and don't do the, you know, when we transforming our minds, where we trying to replace an old thought with a new thought, what we do is, as soon as the old thought comes into play, we switch to the new one. So we constantly do that until the old thought loses so much power that we don't think like that anymore. But with a loss, you can't do that. You can't switch to another one, because I understand that people are going on with their lives, and suddenly what you are going through is a bit of something. They're not there in the morning with you, in the loss with you. So they might say things like, focus on what you have, be glad, focus on joy. With the loss, you can't do that. You have to go through it. So don't try and switch it up, and if don't allow yourself to not enjoy whatever that. If you're up for it, if someone is like, let's go and have some lunch somewhere, if you're up for it, you can go. But if you're not, don't. Just allow yourself to go through it, but don't shelf it as you try to accommodate people. Deal with it. Not dealing with it will prolong it. Prolong the grieving time. Often we want to just go back to our normal lives, our normal routines, without taking into consideration what just happened and how my life has just changed. So don't, if you can, take time off work, school, whatever. If you can, do it. If you can't, well, the Lord be with you as you trying to take the new normal. Because the worst thing is just crying right in the middle of, and people are not even understanding what's going on with you. So it's rather best that you go, because if you are right in a public space, you will not want to cry whenever it comes. But if you were at home and it comes, you'll let it come out. But because of not letting it come out, since you're in a public space, it's prolonging. You're gonna have to push your feelings back, and it's prolonging the grieving. So yes, if you can, record the funeral. This did so much for my family and I. When acceptance came, we finally were able to say, oh, so and so was there, so and so said this, so and so, so if you can record it. I often see that people don't record funerals. If I lost a mother and I'm 5 years old, I'd love to see the funeral at some point. It will give me closure of a sort. So if you can, please do record the funeral. It will help you in your grieving process, and it's also a good remembrance. Yes, it's not so that you can continuously mope, and it's really good in helping you to process the fact that this person is gone. Now you can watch the funeral and not be in tears, because on the day you were there, your mind wasn't there. It was playing tricks on you, trying to deny the whole situation because it was trying to protect you. But now, when you are watching it months later, your mind can actually accept it. Your mind can be there. You can see, this is what happened, this is what happened. So if you can, please record the funeral. Tombstone. Not necessarily tombstone, the grave. Visiting the grave. This was something that one of my father's friends told us. He was the first person who actually said this is going to be a process. Okay, right after the entire funeral, he was there at the grave and he was like, this is going to be a process. So what you can do, it's going to take years of acceptance, of, you're going to want to come back and speak, and, going back to the grave is not necessarily worshipping an ancestor or anything like that, but it's part of the process of just releasing. I want to say something, but this person is not here, and the only thing that's a monument that's there, I know his body is there at the grave. So if I want to get something off my chest, whatever, it will help you visiting their grave. So go there. As time goes by, you won't need to go there as often, but as you are going through it, do take the time to go there. But don't do it in a way where we worshipping, graves and whatnot. It's just to help you process it. And then have a release method. My release method was writing. I don't know how many letters I wrote to God, how many letters I wrote to Dad. When something quite significant happens in my life, I want to let him know. I'd write a letter. It was just me coping with it, releasing it. Mom's release method was actually just sitting there and talking. So she'd place a chair and sit and speak. It worked for her. So finding something that will work for you, release it. Don't keep it bottled up. People will go on with their lives. The loss does not affect other people the way it affects us. So people will not be stuck in what you are stuck in. Let them. It's not that they're being selfish. They didn't feel the way about the person who's gone the way you feel about that person. So let them go on with their lives. I remember feeling like everyone's just busy with their lives now. Like it's like nothing happened. They aren't affected as you are. So let them go on with their lives. They're not being selfish. But let them go on with their life. And understand that this is your journey. It's not a group thing. It's an individual thing. But you can have a family member who understands the thing. Yeah. So, yes. I think life change. Losing a loved one, especially someone who's really close, like a parent or a child or a sibling, someone you speak to every day or someone who's there with you every day, it's a huge life change. That means there's a lot of anxiety and fear attached to now the future. And the best thing you can do for yourself is not thinking about 5 years time or 10 years time. Just take it one day at a time. It will make sense. It will get better. You will start hearing the person's name and not get teary-eyed. You will actually now be able to speak about them. This is what happened on the day they died. You will be able to speak about something stupid they did and not being sad about it. Like, time does heal when it comes to this, Just take it one day at a time. There's really nothing else that you can do. But also process the emotions. Go through the emotions. Don't suppress them. Just be there. And Colossians 1 verse 17 says, He is before all things, and in Him all things hold together. I think this is my favorite comfort verse. God holds everything together. So the anxiety, the fear, going through the motions, it's a roller coaster. But find comfort in the fact that God is going to be there every step of the way. He will sustain you. There are times where one needs just grace to get out of bed, just take a bath, cook some food. It's a journey. But Him being God, He will hold you together. That He does. So, God bless you.